Oh, lovely. The recording's just started.
So, hello, I'm Nick Adams-King. I'm the Executive Lead Member for Universal Services, and welcome to my Decision Day. Thanks to everyone for coming along for an extra Decision Day that we need to undertake. This is being broadcast live on YouTube via the County Council website. So let me welcome some of my colleagues. First of all, Tim Groves, who is the opposition spokesperson today, and I'm not sure whether Kim or Sarah are here. Oh, Sarah's here. Sorry, I can see Sarah now. Yeah, Sarah Pancras from the Independent Group, and hopefully Kim Taylor from Labour will be joining us as well. And then also Rob McAtter and Jackie Branson, who are the chair and vice chair, respectively, of the Universal Services Select Committee. And then finally, my colleague Russell Oppenheimer, who is my fellow Universal Services Cabinet member. So we're here to talk about household waste recycling centres and the charges to DIY waste. Patrick, do you want to do a quick sort of introduction to this?
Of course, thank you, Councillor Adams-King. Yeah, so you're right. The report there is really as a result of changes that we need to make and put in place as a result of changes to national legislation, which was laid before Parliament last month, but come into force on the 1st of January 2024. So just a few weeks' time. There's quite a lot of detail in the paper, but I'm going to hand over to Paul Laughlin, my colleague who's led on this work, and Paul could just take us through the headlines of the report, if that's okay, please.
Thank you, and good afternoon. This paper discusses a change to policy at household waste recycling centres regarding acceptance of so-called DIY waste in line with recently passed government legislation, as Patrick says. DIY waste includes materials such as soil, rubble, plasterboard and asbestos, all items which most householders may create from time to time, creating when they're carrying out improvement works on their homes. While most of it can be recycled in some form, it is very expensive to dispose of, costing around £1 million per year in 2015. In 2016, the County Council introduced a charging system for these materials to help cover the cost of the disposal and recognise that it is largely a specialist waste created by a minority of households. This had a significant positive impact in terms of tonnage received and disposal costs incurred. Last year, the government announced that it wished to consult on a clarification for the ability of local authorities to charge for waste. The County Council responded to the consultation, setting out its understanding that DIY waste was both discretionary and expensive. However, the government published a response in June 2023, advising that it would be passing legislation to prevent charges below a specified allowance. This legislation was passed by Parliament last month with an expectation that councillors would comply by January the 1st, 2024. While it is positive news for householders that are undertaking DIY projects as it reduces the burden in these challenging times, it's important to note the removal of charges will have an impact on the council's waste disposal budget. Taking into account inflation since 2016, it's reasonable to assume that the cost to dispose of this waste could be as much as double what it was, and coming at a time when finances are stretched. The County Council, however, has a duty to comply, and therefore processes are being put in place to manage this change from January. The legislation permits each household to deposit up to 2 50-litre rubble bags or one bulky item, such as a sink or toilet pedestal, for free, at a maximum frequency of no more than 4 visits over 4 weeks. Anything above this amount can still be charged for. The booking system will be partially amended to allow site staff to monitor household inputs, and residents will therefore be asked to indicate if they will be bringing in DIY waste from January. As the booking system is now well established, this offers the most effective and robust means of managing the policy change while ensuring that it prevents unscrupulous commercial operators taking advantage of this taxpayer service. Alternative options such as restricting acceptance to a limited number of sites were considered. However, it was felt that the limited time to implement this, along with the need to evaluate the impact of the legislation, made it preferable to maintain provision as is in the short term. Therefore, in summary, the report recommends the following: that the legislative change and need to comply is noted, that the booking system should be used to monitor household deposits and support the ability to continue to charge for volumes above the prescribed allowance, and that the potential cost impact is noted with a view to officers to monitor and evaluate this impact over the next year and bring forward any mitigation if required. Thank you.
Councillor Adam King, you're muted at the moment.
Sorry, rookie error. Look, I'll start again. Paul, thanks so much. That was really helpful. Before I go to everybody else, can I just ask a quick question, which is that the cost of disposal of DIY waste, obviously it comes in different forms, and some of it can be recycled, I assume, but some of it can't. What's the main part of the cost burden to us? You know, what happened? What is the part of that process of getting rid of it that cost us money? Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the cost of handling it largely, because it is so heavy, and therefore, you know, it takes a lot to carry and dispose and take it to haulage to where it needs to go. As you say, a lot of the soil and rubble can be recycled, but again, because of the weight of it, that's what creates a lot of the cost most of the time, and a limited number of places where it can then be taken to afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. So there are certain locations in the county that are in some places distant from the HWRCs, and consequently the cost is significant in terms of taking the waste once you've taken it to your local recycling centre to then take it to where it's processed.
Yes, there will be different rates for different recycling centres depending on the distance, but obviously the weight of it makes it expensive anyway.
Yeah, hence our consideration potentially of looking at whether we take it in certain sites or not. Understood. Okay. Let me go to Tim. Tim, did you want to say anything or ask any questions?
No, I don't think I do on this occasion. Thank you, Nick, for your. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And Sarah?
No, Nick, I'm quite happy with the report. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Rob and Jackie?
Quite happy with what has been said so far.
I'm also quite happy. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks. So finally, Russell.
I don't have anything to add either. Thanks.
Okay. Paul, thanks very much to you and the team for I know a lot of work has gone into this, into looking at the different impacts, and there was quite a bit of uncertainty for a while around when it was going to be implemented and so on. So hence we're doing this in quite short order. I think from my perspective, the issue is, you know, one very much of unintended consequence. It's clearly a benefit to everybody that you can take any waste to your HWRC and dispose of it for free. The challenge, however, is that we then have to process it and we have to transport it and take it somewhere. And that is the problem that we have in doing so, because it's going to place an additional burden of £2 million a year on all of us as taxpayers. And that £2 million has to come from somewhere. And those are the challenges that we therefore face as a county, because we can't say no to accepting it. And we do have to pay for it to be transferred. And as I say, that £2 million can be spent otherwise on other things, from fixing the roads to looking after children in care to looking after vulnerable adults. And so those are exactly the kind of challenges that we're having to face under the various consultations that we're going through at the moment. The recommendations for this one are in paragraphs 2 to 5 on page 3 of our report. I'm very happy to approve them, and just with my thanks to Paul and to James and to the team in getting this ready for us. And I think it's something that we will have to come back to and look at potentially as part of our review of HWRCs, to see whether it is economic for us to take in waste at every single one, particularly if it's costing us a lot to transport it from those that are furthest away from where it's processed. Okay, Caroline, I think that's it, isn't it? We can stop the recording now.
Thank you. I'll just wait for confirmation.